Harry Cobden.
How are you? Well done. Nice to meet you.
Name one at the moment.
I wouldn't quite go that far. Lovely to meet you anyway.
Brilliant. There you go. That's a good start. It's all right. Doesn't matter. Probably use that for the outtake. Harry, back at Cheltenham. How's your week been so far?
Tuesday and Wednesday was very slow, I must admit, but yesterday, Montmoral won the per attempts and Ginny Stestany ran well. We were pleased with Stage Star, and I was a little bit unfortunate in my last ride. He fell at the third when he was favourite, but yeah, happy with yesterday.
Is that like a huge weight off your back to have a winner?
It's obviously a high pressure week because you know there's only one Cheltenham Festival, and when you see Paul Townend and Willie Mullins absolutely dominating for the first 2 days, you think, Christ, where are we going to pull one out of the bag? And I was amazed that Montmoral won yesterday. I didn't really fancy him beforehand, but it all just fell into place, and it's just, I suppose, a little bit of a relief rather than anything, you know?
Like you say, it's a pressure cooker, and everyone talks about Cheltenham. Have you ever won at Cheltenham? Have you ever done this? Have you done that? Okay, Grand National maybe is the other exception, but only one person can win a Grand National every year. Cheltenham, there is a few more shots at it. Is there pressure from Paul? Is it pressure from owners, or is it just pressure you put on yourself?
Well, I suppose, you know, Paul Nicholls is probably the most competitive person I've ever come across in my life, and he would not be a happy man if he walked away after 4 days of Cheltenham without a winner. And it's, you know, there is a lot of pressure, and I suppose when Dan Skelton's doing so well and Harry's riding winners, it makes us all feel like we've got to step up and raise our game. So to get one on the board yesterday, it wasn't pressure off, but it was just, you know, relief that we're on the board.
Is it hard to not get caught up with that, and then you're like, right, back out to the next race, and you're not starting from zero, but in that race you are starting from zero again?
Absolutely. I mean, yesterday Montmoral, he was forgotten about 30 minutes after, because you're going out on Stage Star and you've got to get that one right.
Yeah.
And then after Stage Star, it's Noble Yates, and then after Noble Yates, it was Theatre Man. So I suppose you're very much living in the moment, and once you've had your 15 minutes after the race, you're on to the next one thinking about that. And to be honest, Montmoral was completely forgotten about going out on Stage Star.
This year you decided, I remember you said it quite early on, you're going to go for the championship, or at least try it. What did you think when Sean was about 40 clear? Did you think, well, that's enough of that then?
Well, it was looking rather unrealistic, and we sort of sat down and me and my agent did the maths, and I think we had to ride something like 1.9 more winners a week than Sean Bowen, which was looking fairly unrealistic when he was riding 5 a week and I was riding 2. But I had a really good October, November and December, and then unfortunately for Sean, he got injured and didn't ride for 5 weeks, and sort of that gave me a bit of breathing time to try and bridge the gap. And I think with his 5 weeks off, I came back on zero. You know, one man's misfortune is another man's fortune, I suppose. And look, no one wants to see anyone sat on the sideline, but it was just, I suppose, a little bit of luck for me that he did get injured, and it gave me an opportunity to sort of close the deficit.
Is that, you know, it's hard though, isn't it? Because you think the challenge is on between the two of you. It's very much a championship at the moment, but it could, you know, touch wood. Hopefully he's all right. You've been pretty injury-free this season.
Yeah.
Massively touch wood on that. But one injury and it's gone.
Oh, absolutely. And to be fair, Sean's injury was very serious, and I thought he did well to get back in 5 or 6 weeks. He's a tough man. And I know I think I'm 12 clear of him at the moment, but it's not over till it's over. He could have a good week here or there, and I might have a couple of bad weeks, and he could claw that straight back. And it's certainly still not in the bag anyway. And
a word about Sean, like, what's it like having someone like that as your, you know, competitor for, you know, for a place in the history books, realistically?
Well, he's the ultimate professional, one of the nicest guys you'd ever come across, fiercely competitive, and he will be champion jockey one day, whether it's this year or next.
Yeah, he's definitely got that, like, mindset. As I think your mindset, from what I've picked up on, is like quite happy to do other things.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm one of those people that sort of like switch on the day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I would try not to get too uptight about racing. It's not the be all and end all, but when we're here on big days, and actually when it comes down to it, I think I probably care a lot more than I let on, if that makes sense.
It's kind of interesting to actually even say that though, is that you don't take it home with you. You don't think, if I don't do this, I don't do this, I don't do this, then you can still be happy. Is that
yeah,
right?
oh, definitely. I'm, you know, like today's probably a prime example. If Brave Man's Game runs disappointingly in the Gold Cup and Captain T didn't run his race, I still go home tonight and have a walk around and clear my head when I get back, and tomorrow is a different day and it's completely forgotten about, and I certainly won't be dwelling on it. But like now, beforehand, I'm hoping it goes right. I've got a plan in my head. I think I'm well prepared, and I can't do any more, and me worrying about it or fretting is not going to make it any easier, so you're better off.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think you don't overthink it?
Probably a bit just realistic.
I suppose, slightly different question. What do you do to relax? Like if you're not taking everything home with you, you're not obsessively, you know, are you watching racing like on days off?
No, definitely not. I wouldn't. I would just try and do something else. Get out of the house, take the dogs for a walk, might go to a local cattle market, various different things like that. Do a few jobs on the farm. I've got a few young horses at home, mess about with them. I wouldn't spend my day inside watching racing, or I just think sometimes we can just get a little bit caught up in the racing bubble, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And there is more to life than horses galloping around a field.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, when we're galloping around the field, we're taking it seriously.
And then you've got an actual perspective on other people's viewpoints as well, I suppose. And you're speaking to owners their lives are not entirely 100% racing. So I suppose it helps you out in other ways to have that slightly broader kind of viewpoint.
I think so, definitely. Do you know, the one thing I actually love about horse racing, there is a person here from every walk of life, whether it's the man that does the bins in Cheltenham, or you've got the banker from London. I just think it's incredible, and how you get all those people here and they're all so genuine, and it's just, I think that's what makes Cheltenham. There's just so many different people here. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, we're all stood together, watching the same racing, enjoying it, and I just think that's a great outlook for our sport.
Yeah, brilliant. And so you do relax with your farming. Tell us a bit about that. Like what is that? That's a family thing, from what I understand. But what do you do? Cows, sheep?
Yeah. So I've had some sheep. They all went to market last Saturday.
Oh, what, in time for Cheltenham?
Yeah. So they
didn't
all
have time to look after
them. No. So they all went last Saturday, and then we've just got a load of beef cattle at home. Try and buy 30 a week and sell 30 a week. So it's something I enjoy doing with my dad. He's actually gone to a cattle market today, so hopefully he'll be back in time to watch the Gold Cup.
Yeah, will he be watching the Gold Cup on his phone?
He won't miss that. He won't miss that.
Are you his labourer, or is he your labourer?
I don't know. He probably says I'm the person that goes around and finds fault with everything he does, but no, we got on well together, and I love doing it.
Yeah. Is that a future career? Whenever it happens, it's going to be hopefully a long time from now.
Yeah,
would you go retire for the quiet life?
I definitely retire for the quiet life, but at the same time, I'd want a little bit more. What and where or when that'll be, I don't know. But,
what do you mean a little bit more?
Well, I love the farming, but I just think I need a little bit more excitement, probably a bit more of a challenge in my life.
Yeah.
What I don't.
So what? You have no idea what that is. But like travel the world kind of thing.
I don't know. I'd love to stay in racing and maybe do something.
Is there something you really want to win?
Gold Cup. Oh,
okay.
The Gold Cup, yeah. I'd love to win the Gold Cup. The Grand National's a fantastic race as well, but I just think the Gold Cup, the best jumps horse in England and Ireland or France wins that race. So that is the race I'd love to win. I'd love to win the Grand National as well, but the Gold Cup would definitely be ahead of that. And the other one would just be if I could be Champion Jockey once, I'd accept that.
Once and you're out.
Yeah.
You want that little name etched somewhere, and that's enough.
I must admit, I'll probably ride 250 more horses this year than I would have ever have ridden before, and it's a lot more work. I don't know how McCoy did it for 20 years, but it's just...
I think he had a different mindset.
Yeah, it's just something that I'd love to do, and if I could achieve that, I'd be really, really delighted.
What is your favourite memory riding?
My best personal memory would have been... There's two. The first one would have been Flanders Over winning the King George in 2018.
Yep.
That was my sort of second big winner, and the other one was a ridiculously special day, was winning the RSA on Top of the Game.
Yeah.
Beating Santini.
That was cool.
I love that. That was
You gave it the big uns as well.
Yeah, that was probably one of those days where you just have a plan in your mind how you want to ride the horse. The race went exactly to plan. He winged the second last. He absolutely pinged the last, and
You're smiling, saying it.
yeah, it was the best feeling. I think it was probably the best feeling I've ever had. But that was fantastic.
How hard is it when you have that and you know that that horse is so capable of so much, and he gives you that amazing feel, and then injury just blighted him.
Like, for all we know, he might have won 2 Gold Cups, mightn't he? But he was just too big, and his body didn't allow him to stay sound, and we could never sort of get any more out of him after then. And such a shame, because it was such a waste of talent, if you know what I mean. We just couldn't keep the wheels on the van, and gutted really when he had his little niggly problems, but it wasn't to be, was it? But we did have our day in the sun, and he was the most phenomenal horse.
What would be a perfect horse, like if you could build a perfect horse?
Well, the perfect horse is probably Corto Star or Constitution Hill, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you look at Constitution Hill.
Constitution Hill doesn't look.
He doesn't stand out,
No.
does he? There are lots more horses. I'll tell you, the perfect horse, and like everyone loves this horse, Sprinter Sacra. He was probably the perfect horse, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He had everything. He had size, scope, speed, temperament. I think the only thing he didn't have was his breathing wasn't the best at times, wasn't
exactly,
it?
yeah.
But
I think he had a couple of wind-ups.
probably one of the most important things are, actually, if not the most important thing in a racehorse, is his mind.
Right, okay.
Because like, you can have a horse with all the ability in the world, but if it doesn't want to do it, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
You know.
Can you feel that underneath? Can you feel a horse's mind? Like as you're riding it, like a horse that wants it, a horse that fights, a horse that.
You definitely get horses that try harder than others, and you get horses that you wouldn't have to ride as hard as a jockey to get them to max out. You also get horses that try too hard early on. They're too keen, and that's probably a disadvantage.
I got to ask. Tell us about your GCSE in English.
Oh yeah, well, they're fairly non-existent.
What happened there?
So I had my first ride at Leicester in a hunter chase, and it was the same day as my maths or GCSE, I can't remember. So got on the old horse box, went to Leicester to ride this 33-1 shot for Anthony Honeyball, who I was working for at the time. My mother was calling me on the way there. She wasn't very happy. She asked me where I was, and I told her where I was going.
How did she find out? She didn't realise. She hadn't checked the entries or anything.
She didn't realise that my GCSE was on that day.
Ah.
I was very aware of what day it was on, but I just thought the ride was more important than the exam. Looking back, it probably wasn't the wisest thing in the world to do, but anyway, I went, rode the horse. It was 33-1, and it got up on the line and won.
You won on your first ride?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And
I bet your mum was even more angry in a way.
I was off the
because
hook.
You were insufferable afterwards.
I was off the hook, but it all worked out well in the end, when I haven't needed to use the old GCSEs yet, so hopefully I won't need them.
Brilliant. Right, I got some quick fire questions for you. Very much quick fire. You have kind of answered the first one, but we'll do it again.
Yep.
Gold Cup or Grand National?
Gold Cup.
Brave Man's Game or Irving?
Oh, tough one. Brave Man's Game.
Riding in the yard or riding in front of thousands of people?
Thousands of people.
Summer or winter?
Winter.
Different. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Night in or night out?
Probably night in.
Yeah. Documentary or action film?
Documentary.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Chocolate, do you put it in the fridge or do you put it in the cupboard?
Cupboard.
Test the waters or dive in the deep end?
Dive in the deep end.
And glass half full or glass half empty?
Oh, half empty.
Really?
Yeah.
You think you're a half empty person?
No, probably wrong actually. Half full. Half full.
Well, thank you very much, Harry.
All right.
Cheers.